Welcome to Regional News. The heads of government within the Caribbean community CARICOM have expressed concern at the slow pace and low level of implementation of the CARICOM Single Market and Economy CSME. At the 40th meeting of the heads, concerns were raised about the lack of urgency exhibited by some member states in enacting the necessary legislation and putting in place the administrative measures for implementation, according to the communiqué issued this morning by the regional bloc. In it, the heads of government recognized that there were various capacity constraints and there was need to strengthen capacity at the national level to address the challenges, in particular that of the drafting of legislations. The heads also agreed to provide greater support to the CSME focal points through the strengthening or establishment of CSME units within the ministries with a focus on implementation in accordance with the agreed timelines. The ultimate goal of the CSME is to provide the foundation for growth and development through the creation of a single economic space for production of competitive goods and services. The CSME is at the heart of CARICOM's economic integration, and economic integration is one of the four pillars on which CARICOM rests its pursuit of its objectives. Already, the CSME has had an impact on the lives of citizens and business. Several categories of persons seeking employment move freely. This has been achieved through the abolition of the work permit system, the introduction of the Certificate of CARICOM Skills Qualification, definite entry for 6 months, indefinite leave to stay in the CARICOM member state, and the right to transfer Social Security benefits from one CARICOM state to another. In addition, the creation of the CARICOM Court of Justice (CCJ) to interpret and apply the treaty that established CARICOM and to settle disputes. We now move on to the Bahamas. Accident investigators in the Bahamas say they've recovered the helicopter that crashed off the coast of a remote private island on July 4. 7 Americans died in the crash, including coal billionaire Chris Klein, who owned Big Grand Cay. The Bahamas Air Accident Investigation Department says on its website that a Florida-based contractor pulled the Augusta helicopter from the ocean Saturday night. The helicopter was expected to be taken to Fort Lauderdale and then to an accident investigation facility in Fort Pierce, Florida. The Accident Investigation Department also says it's interviewing witnesses on Big Grand Cay. The department has said that the National Transportation Safety Board, the Federal Aviation Administration, the Safety Board of Italy, and the manufacturer of the aircraft and engine would all provide assistance with the investigation. We now move on to Barbados. The waves of sargassum seaweed heading towards Barbados and its neighbors could be as devastating to national economies as a strong tropical storm or a Category 1 hurricane. That was the warning from Prime Minister Mia Mottley as she explained the position she shared with her CARICOM colleagues at the 40th Heads of Government Conference in Gros Islet, St. Lucia, after the meeting was addressed by Prime Minister of Norway, Erna Solberg. Mottley referred to an article in the Financial Times newspaper this week, which reported experts as saying that there was a body of sargassum seaweed the size of Jamaica headed towards the coast of Mexico. Such a threat headed toward the Caribbean Sea, she warned, would require an unprecedented level of cooperation among CARICOM states. The Prime Minister noted that Barbados had started in a relatively small way testing, I quote, how best we can harvest the sargassum and use it for productive purposes, but the scale at which it is coming is truly mammoth, and I believe that its impact will be as devastating as a strong tropical storm or a Category 1 hurricane, end of quote. Mottley also noted that while the threat to tourism is clearly evident in some islands, the livelihood of fishing communities was being literally wiped out by the sargassum seaweed, blocking ports and confining boats. And finally, in Trinidad and Tobago, speculation by the United National Congress, UNC, and the Movement for Social Justice, MSJ, that the Trinidad government will postpone local government elections has been rubbished by Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley. He said that there was never any intention to postpone the election. Although he did not announce the date for elections, he said that the population can rest assured that it will be held in the appropriate time frame. He said the current term ends in November. He, along with Rural Development and Local Government Minister Kazim Hossain, Finance Minister Colm Inbert, Works and Transport Minister Rohan Sinanan, Planning and Development Minister Camille Robinson Regis, and Housing and Urban Development Minister Edmund Dillon were on hand for the second day of the P&M screening of local government candidates. But Movement for Social Justice political leader David Abdullah believes that the Prime Minister will give an election date that will fall after the national budget is presented in Parliament. Abdullah believes that the budget will be filled with election goodies and called on the population to not be fooled by this. Amel Griffith reporting for HGP Nightly News.